Hey everybody! Do you have a toddler who is starting to melt down when you say, hey, it's time to go, or here's your breakfast, and they're like, but I don't like that cup, or I don't want to leave? Are you experiencing meltdowns? About 2.5 years ago, we were experiencing some of those things as well, and we have a strategy that we've been using that's actually helped quite a bit, and I wanted to talk with you about that today, and it's as simple as choices. I want to share a little story first about our oldest daughter. When she was, she's almost 6 now, actually. By the time this comes out, she will be just a few weeks from 6. And we started doing this when she was about 3.5. So this was probably, I'd say she was probably 4 or 4.5 when this happened. So we had been doing choices for a little while, and she was starting to grasp that there's like an A and a B, but she hadn't quite figured out all about how it had worked. She wanted me to come in her room and play with her, and it was quiet time, and I'm like, no, it's mommy's time to not have you around. Anyway, it's quiet time. And so she came out and she said, Mommy, I really want you to play with me. And I'm like, it was at the end of her quiet time, and I said, okay. I said, well, hold on just a minute. And she said, Mommy, I'm going to give you 2 choices, which may or may not be what I say to her. I'm going to give you 2 choices. 1, you can play Tinkerbell with me, or 2, you can have a spank. And I was like, oh, my daughter just gave me a choice. Awesome. That was great, because I was like, okay, she's grasping that there's choices. And this is not so great because, she doesn't quite have it just right. So, because for the record, it's usually not, do you want to do this or do you want to get a spank? Usually choices look a little bit different than that. For those of you that might be wondering, choices, what's she talking about? What kind of choices? We actually did a video about this, and we're going to put in the link right up here if you want to right-click, open new tab, and check it out. But basically what choices looks like is you have your toddler, and they're starting to get this little will, and you're like, where did that come from? Where's my sweet baby? Why are you acting like this? So what it looks like is when you are going to give them breakfast, if they usually have a freak out fest because you give them the purple cup and not the pink cup, it would look something like, with breakfast this morning, honey, do you want to have your pink cup or your purple cup? And then they're like, oh, hey, I'm a big girl. I choose pink. And then they feel empowered because you're giving them what they asked for, and you're like, avoided another meltdown because you can have the pink cup, because I don't really care what cup you have. I just want you to not melt down while you're having your breakfast. Or another example of a choice would be, okay, honey, we're going to be leaving the house in 5 minutes. You can put on your shoes now, or you can put them on in 5 minutes, but then we're walking out the door. Well, most kids are going to delay anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Well, I don't want to do that right now. So they'll say, well, I'm going to do it in 5 minutes. When they're young, you kind of just give them very simple choices. When they get a little bit older, you can say, okay, so we're in agreement that in 5 minutes we're going to put on shoes and go get in the car right away. And they'll say yes. So basically, you're giving them choices where you're okay with either one, either choice A or choice B. It doesn't matter to you. It's within what's okay with you. But for them, it feels like, it's a big deal because they're getting to actually participate in what's happening in their life. Because as they get older, it's kind of like, why are you making decisions why do you always get to do what you want to do? And it's, we have to resist the urge to be like, because I'm the parent, kid. But choices makes them feel empowered. As I mentioned a little earlier in the video, we've been doing this for about 2.5 years. My daughter was about 3.5, and she's now almost 6. And so I kind of wanted to give a report of what it has looked like for our family over the 2.5 years that we've been doing this. Now, obviously, my youngest we haven't quite gotten there yet, because sometimes choices look like me picking her up off the floor after she has dramatically thrust herself upon it and just taking her to her room for no fun time. So we're not there yet with her. But for my older daughter, as I said, she's about 3.5 when we started, and it was still pretty basic when we started. It was choice A or choice B. But as she has gotten older, there's been a couple things that have happened. One is the choices are getting a little more sophisticated because she's a pretty smart little girl now. You know, she's 6, she's almost through kindergarten, and she's pretty smart. So the choices are a little more sophisticated, and they have to be appealing. So if that requires me to maybe bend a little or figure out what's going to work for our family, even if it means me kind of having to step back and rethink a certain situation, that's okay. I'm still usually in control of the choices, and that's what the goal is that we're kind of keeping order. It just means that choices are a little more sophisticated. There is another part of this, and that is my child is a negotiator, and I think actually most kids are. I think that that's just part of being a kid, is you learn how to talk your way out of things or ask, or you tap 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 until you figure out a way to get your way, or that's just kids. So while I don't encourage manipulation, I do want to encourage negotiation, because that's a skill that we all need. The other thing is, it's so easy as parents to just be like, this is the way we're gonna do it because it's easiest for us and we want it to be a particular way. And I'm so guilty of this, because if my kid wants to do something and I'm like, that's gonna make a giant mess in the kitchen and I'm not interested, I usually just say no. But what I have to remember is she's getting older, and if I'm saying no simply because it's an inconvenience to me, maybe I might want to rethink it sometimes. Not all the time. There's sometimes that I'm just going to be like, nope. But I want her to feel heard, and I also want to be open to her ideas and her suggestions. So I'm having to open up a little bit more of my mind to being willing to negotiate with my 6-year-old. And sometimes she actually has really good ideas. Sometimes. But I want to encourage that, and I want to make sure she feels heard. So just being willing to maybe change things up just a little bit has worked really well. And we don't have a lot of discourse when it comes to decisions, or when my husband and I say, no, you can't do this. It's usually, these are the choices, and then if she has something that she wants to throw into the mix, we let her, and then we take it into consideration, and then we try to talk about it as a family, or as me and her talking about it, until we come to something that we can both live with. And I'm okay with that, because again, I'm all right with negotiation. I am raising a strong daughter, and that's part of it. If you have found this video helpful, or if you know of someone who's walking through this right now, I would be honored if you would consider sharing it. That would be great. If you liked the video, please click like. And I would also like to invite you to be a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, then you get an email right when we drop new videos, which happens every week. And we would love it if you would join us on our journey into and through family. That would be great. We have a Facebook page and we have a blog, so if you want to check us out in one of those areas, that would be awesome. And I hope that we will see you all next week. Have a great day. Bye.